Welcome to the MLB Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Mo Nawara in the Midwest. We are trucking along on a Friday night slate here full of evening time games for us to go through with you guys. We do have plenty of best bets we like in tonight's slate. Make sure you are liked and subscribed. Continue to follow along with us as we are bringing you these videos each and every weekday of this regular season. Also want you to head to thelines.com. We've got great written content on there all summer long for you, headed into the fall as well with this MLB season. Also have our great odds checker tool on there so you can make sure you are shopping those lines to the best of your ability. Get all the best juice you can on those MLB bets making tonight. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to ftpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as what we've got on this full slate here tonight, starting with the first nighttime game we've got here in the evening. The Nats and Josiah Gray in Philly taking on Kyle Gibson and the Phils, minus 195 for Philly at home. The Pirates and Mitch Keller are taking on Dean Kramer and the Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore, minus 150, a game we are going to talk about here in a minute as well. Ian Anderson and the Braves are back in New York taking on Taijuan Walker and the Mets, minus 145 for the Mets there. Framber Valdez and the Stros, minus 205 in Cleveland against the Guardians, and Hunter Gaddis, as I said, in Cleveland there. The Rays and Corey Kluber are in Detroit taking on Brian Garcia and the Tigers, minus 200 for Tampa on the road. Dylan Cease and the White Sox are in Texas taking on Glenn Otto, minus 180 for the Chi Sox on the road. Robert Duggar and the Reds in Milwaukee taking on Eric Lauer, minus 230 for the Brewers at home. Toronto and Jose Berrios on the mound against Minnesota. Tyler Mahle, minus 125 there for the Blue Jays on the road. Josh Winkowski and the Sox, a game we are going to talk about, taking on the Royals in Kansas City, minus 115 for the Sox there. Nestor Cortez and the Yanks are in St. Louis taking on Dakota Hudson and the Cards, minus 155 for the Yanks, and a pretty good matchup there. German Marquez and the Rockies are in Arizona taking on Mad Bum, minus 130 for Bumgarner and the Diamondbacks at home. Sean Manaea and the Padres are in LA taking on the Doyers. Tony Gonsolin is minus 150 on the mound against Sean Manaea there, as we said. And Patrick Sandoval and the Angels rounding out the night in Seattle taking on Robbie Ray, minus 200, big favorites for the Mariners as the Angels continue to be depleted. But let's kick things off here with your favorite game of tonight, Mo. That is the Astros and Framber Valdez in Cleveland, as we said. So kick us off with the first things you are looking for in this one and why you do feel it's okay to bet on the Astros and they're minus 200 on the money line.
Yeah, I know the Astros are huge favorites, but man, a lot of stuff lining up for them here. And yeah, I got minus 200. There's still a couple minus 200s out there, but you better be quick about it because some Astros steam looks like it's starting to come in. I think this one's good. Maybe it's like minus 220 or so because I had the Astros even bigger favorites than that. So Cleveland's throwing a guy named Hunter Gaddis. I've never seen this name before. Was digging into his minor league record. He's only had 2 AAA starts even. So, only 2 starts above AA, 10 innings. He was just pretty good at AA. He looks maybe replacement level at best. I guess my only concern here would be sometimes these guys who come up, the league doesn't really have a plan for hitting them yet, and it takes a little while for the league to adjust to them because they don't have like very much tape on them or whatever. But yeah, he looks like he's probably going to be overmatched. And Framber Valdez, man, a lot of stuff lining up for him to have a big game here. The Guardians are putrid against lefties. They're second worst in baseball against lefties. They don't hit sinkers well. I think they were bottom 10 hitting sinkers. And obviously the sinker is the main weapon for Framber. And then the last thing is that the Guardians do hit a fair amount of grounders. I believe they're 11th in grounder rate, and you need to be elevating the baseball against Framber. So, it looks like a dream matchup for Framber. He's obviously way more talented than Gaddis. And yeah, how bad the Guardians look like they're going to hit in this matchup. I really think the Astros should roll here.
Yeah, that's fair. This is another easy matchup for the Stros. We took them last night with Verlander and a huge, not much return there, but still plenty of reason to feel good about the Astros in these situations right now. It's still very, very hot after the All-Star break as well. So let's move on to the second game here. We're talking about, I did mention the Pirates and Mitch Keller in Baltimore, minus 150 for the Orioles, but the feisty Pirates are on the docket for us today. So tell me what you like about this Pirates team as they are getting that, as they are underdogs here on the road.
Yeah, I do like the Pirates a little actually. It's right on the border of where I would play, but I liked under 8.5 a little more. I guess I should open by saying not sure if this game's gonna go. It does say that the weather could
Mm.
be pretty rainy, so I guess we'll see what happens there. But um, yeah, I just love what Mitch Keller's been doing. First of all, so since he switched to the sinker, we've talked about this before. Updated numbers. Now I don't think we've mentioned it in some time, but since May 25th, when he switched his primary fastball from four seamer to sinker, Mitch Keller has a 3.29 ERA, 3.6 FIP, 3.7 xFIP. I mean, that's pretty good. So when it's coming from a formerly elite prospect, it makes me definitely more willing to buy into a change like this being very meaningful. Yeah, I mean, 50% grounders this year still. Keller's just doing it basically. So I like his chances against an Orioles lineup that traded away maybe their best hitter, Trey Mancini, definitely one of their best hitters. And the Pirates lineup is obviously really poor. I mean, both of these lineups are hitting right-handed pitching pretty poorly. Pirates are fourth worst in baseball. Baltimore is 19th, so they're not good, but then they're probably worse than that in true talent at this point. So, as far as the other side of the matchup goes, I mean, I don't think anything of Dean Kramer really, but I mean, every time I fade him, he just does it. So, I was looking into his numbers a little bit, and he's leaning more into a cutter this year. I feel like something in the peripherals just doesn't capture guys who like lean into a cutter and make it work
Mm.
for them because I feel like I'm always too low on these guys. But Statcast doesn't believe in him at all. But his because they have him like over a 5 ERA, but his other peripherals are reasonable, like 4.5, and this from a guy who was really bad, like replacement level type of pitcher before that. So 4.5 is like good for him. So, last time I bet a Pirates under, it was 0-0 in the sixth, and the over was in by the seventh. But trying it again here.
It's wild what you remember with these bets and what just sticks with you like that. Because yeah, I would also feel the same way in that one. And honestly, yeah, the 8.5 runs in the total in this one, I would actually like the minus 105 on the under there better as well. But still, definitely don't know how much I trust it. But I do think, to your point as well, Dean Creamer's cutter has been a bit heavier as of late, definitely getting a bit more ground balls. So there's something to him keeping that low and having some success there, especially against a Pirates lineup that is not scary by any means. But let's finish things off with this another game here. We're finishing in. We've got the Sox here in Boston. In Kansas City, taking on the Royals. We've got Josh Winkowski, the youngster, against the ageless Zach Greinke here. This is one where might I interest you in potentially an under as well, to be honest, at 9 runs. That's something I might consider. I'd love to flirt with the no run first inning as well, which is something Winkowski has done pretty well, but he kind of had a rough July as well. That kind of leads you to not feel great about him, which is why I imagine you're not feeling that this is your strongest take of the day, picking the Sox here at minus 115 on the money line currently, but still might be worth a look, right?
Yeah, I fired the Red Sox last night, but I'm not as confident this morning when I look at it. I still think they should be favored a little bigger here, but you're right. Winkowski hasn't been that good. I didn't realize that the last few starts have been so poor for him. I guess it just hadn't checked in on him in a little bit. Initially, when I was looking at him, I remember earlier in the year, I thought he looked pretty
Yeah.
reasonable. Um, I still think he could be. Some of his projections are right around 4.5, which is right around where I had him. But he has been struggling for sure. Greinke's been a little better too since early in the season, but when I look at these lineups, there's such a big disparity in these lineups. I mean, the Royals are really poor against right-handed pitching. They're 25th in the league. And this is another thing. Boston's like not even that much
Yeah.
higher than that. But when I look at these lineups, I just think there's no way Boston's as bad as their numbers against right-handed pitching. I mean, they still have multiple like elite to borderline elite bats in their lineup, and the rest of their players are like at least average. The Royals, when I'm looking, the bottom of this lineup is a disaster. Something Michael Massey's in there, Nate Eaton. I don't even know who these guys are. I mean, that's just like not usual at
Yeah.
all for me. And we know Nicky Lopez is an atrocious hitter. So yeah, I mean the top of the lineup is okay. Bobby Witt's been incredible. He was great again last night. Just buried me. And the Red Sox were right there. They were thinking about winning the game last night, and then they handed the ball to something called Darwinzon Hernandez in high leverage. So that went about as well as you would expect. But um, yeah, the Royals not only 25th against right-handed pitching, but they're terrible hitting sinkers, and they're 26th hitting sinkers there, and that's really where Winkowski kind of butters his bread is with his sinker. So still, I think a decent matchup for the Red Sox, and yeah, I think their lineup is just way better than what the Royals are running out there. So I did think they should be closer to minus 130. It's not a huge edge, minus 115, minus 120, whatever it is now, but good for a small play, I thought.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I mean, I will say the Royals put up 7 runs last night, as you mentioned. Bobby Witt's still a very, very good young hitter, but that's the Royals' mo. They get a young stud, they keep him for a bit. They'll probably end up on somewhere like the Yankees, and we'll move forward from there with the Royals. But this is still, I would still say this is a pretty good matchup to take the Sox tonight, and I do expect a bit of a bounce back. But I really intrigued to wait for Nate to come back and let us know his thoughts on the Sox, who continue to underperform and probably continue to piss off the entire city of Boston. So that is all the time we have for you guys, though, today. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along with us as we are bringing you these videos each and every weekday of this regular season. So until we see you next, happy betting.